Now we're going to get to a little bit of footy, not football. That's going to come up after this. But the United States men's national team is heading to the World Cup for the first time since 2014. We have to give a round of applause.
Round of applause
to the Yanks for getting back in. They lost 2-0 to Costa Rica, and they still qualify, which is fantastic. And the other night at Paper Production, I had played the song Miss Alyssa by the Eagles of Death Metal. That's the name of the band. And that was the 2014 commercial song for Nike in their whole Risk Everything campaign when promoting
greatest
the
ad
World
ever.
Cup. I thought
greatest
that was
ad ever.
Incredible ad, incredible concept. I don't know if I watched it the other day on YouTube. I don't know if anyone's going to ever recreate anything like that again. I loved that.
You cannot top that ad.
No.
It's just pure nostalgia. 2014 World Cup.
Yeah.
What a time.
And
last time we were in it.
Yeah. It was the last time the United States national team was really good. Like Tim Howard had that epic game versus Belgium, and he was incredible. Versus, I believe it was Germany, keeping it at 1-0 to the eventual world champions. Clint Dempsey having a couple moments against Portugal, and then you had Julian Green. It's Julian Green for the United States. I thought it was a fantastic World Cup, and then the United States national team misses 2018 in the qualifying. They just, as Kobe Bryant would say, they just wet the bed. And now here they are in 2022, and they're going to Qatar in November. Now, this team, Nick, I'm going to start with you, is way different in terms of aesthetic, feel, construction than it was in 2018 and 2014, even before that. I think one thing we can use with this team is the word deep. It is significantly deeper of a pool that the United States is picking from than they were when Landon Donovan was in his prime.
2018, that whole qualifying cycle is just a weird time.
So vicious, too. Vicious.
U.S. soccer fans call it sort of a lost generation, where in that kind of time frame there was no real talented players between the ages of 24 and 29.
I mean,
players in their
Pulisic,
prime.
that was it.
Pulisic was 18 at the time.
Yeah.
So you were being carried by Pulisic, and you had older players like Michael Bradley, Clint Dempsey, Tim Howard, players way past their prime,
barely hanging on,
trying to be carried by an 18-year-old. So they missed the World Cup, and now there's this whole new younger generation of players applying their trade in Europe. Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, Gio Reyna, players who are getting regular minutes in the Champions League, now joining Christian Pulisic. This team has more depth than it's had before. It's also younger than it's ever had before.
Yeah.
So when you think about a young team in a tournament, it could go two ways. You could either the young players take it in stride, or the experience really comes back to bite them, or the lack of experience. I think it'll be the former. I think this team has the potential to make a run in Qatar, especially considering the group they got. But this qualifying cycle was a little bit up and down. Greg Berhalter's not my favorite, the manager of the men's national team, in terms of the way he sets the team up.
The development, though, he has done a really good job.
He's done a very good job recruiting dual nationals, very good job developing the players. And personnel-wise, this is the most talented group we've ever had by far in the history of the men's national team. It's just whether or not they can put out that great final product on the field.
I'm so excited for November because it's Thanksgiving. Black Friday is the USA-England game, and then it's college football. It's
college football.
Isn't it like the rivalry time?
The NFL is on.
NFL, sorry. And around that time, it's just going to be the most USA pride that we're going to have in a while. And I think it's good for soccer just as a whole, because I feel like men's soccer especially has been on the back burner for the U.S. for years. The women have been great.
They're a dynasty, essentially.
They are a dynasty. They have carried them with the stars on their uniforms. All of them are from the women. And we have this very young USA team, and I completely agree. I'm not a Berhalter fan by any standards, but I feel like this young team also playing in so many English clubs, like Pulisic playing at Chelsea. You have a couple of the goalkeepers. You have Stefan, Manchester City, Sargent at Norwich.
Serginho Dents, the defender from Barcelona.
Yes.
I mean, is that the first American on Barcelona ever?
There was another young player who came before him, Conrad de la Fuente.
But did he ever
Conrad never started for the first team.
I'm saying
made a couple sub appearances.
Yeah.
The first one to really make an impact is Serginho Dest.
Yeah, so that's there's things that are in this team that you just have to unpack that have just never happened. Christian Pulisic scoring consistently in the Prem, starting for a top Prem club in Chelsea, winning the damn Champions League, and scoring. Some of these things are just unfathomable. I mean, Tyler Adams, who's been playing in the Bundesliga, he's been fantastic. Weston McKennie, a regular on Juventus, who starts often. I mean, he broke his foot Will he be back in time? I would like to.
He will be.
I will
that
like
man
to think
has
so.
supernatural healing powers. He was supposed to be out.
Is he a mystic?
This has happened before,
Yeah.
where they've said 5 months you're out, and now they're saying he'll be back by the end of April.
Now, is he a mystic like Jay Wright?
Maybe, possibly.
I think that works to the strength,
Okay.
though. I feel like a lot of the young players on the team are just really fast healers for the U.S., which is good because when you look at kind of the road ahead that we have,
England.
Before that is the Nations League.
Nations League in June.
Nations League scares me for the sole reason is I do not want to see a repeat of like 2021 with our absolute awful Honduras game in particular. That, to me, this all sets the stage because there's a very short turnaround time between players coming back from clubs and then going to Qatar. It's like
1 week.
One
week of preparation.
Jeez.
which is really crazy to me.
I don't know if this is a good idea for them to participate in, but they probably can't pull out at this point, right?
Yeah, no, the whole thing of the tournament being the winter means typically, in May, the end of May, you'll call them, if the World Cup's in the summer, you'll call on your players for a training camp. It'll be like a 3-week-long training camp. You'll start with a big roster, narrow it down based on who's good, and the players on the fringes will go either way.
Yeah.
Now, Christian Pulisic, players like that will be playing, 100% in the Premier League on one Saturday. Then they've got literally a week after that to get with the team, get ready, and prepare for the World Cup.
Yeah. I think that, to me, is the craziest part about this is just the turnaround time. Because, again, like you said, Prem, you get maybe a week. Like, your rest is literally going to be on the plane. Like, you just have to sleep on the plane.
I wouldn't be stunned if we saw some injuries,
Yeah.
some muscle fatigue.
I really hope not because they have a great opportunity here. And most of this team, as I said, is under the age of 26, which is good because 2026, they can be a true force, perhaps. And especially now, one thing I really point out here is the attention that Berhalter has put to developing defenders. And again, that's something the United States has literally just not had like a deep pool of at all. But the fact that they've got, again, Tyler Adams and McKinney are their holding midfielders that are incredible. I mean, we already know they're going to play offense. We know that they can do that. But you have guys like Antoine Robinson, Dest, Miles Robinson, DeAndre Yedlin, he's still, around.
He's still in the mix.
He's still in the mix, and he's still got his speed, which is huge for fullback on the wings. But the fact that he's put so much attention to developing defenders is good, because John Brooks was the one guy that I had liked from 2014. DeMarcus Beasley, it was blah. I wasn't impressed with him. Who else was? Gonzalez was.
Matt Beasler.
Yeah, Matt.
Jeff Cameron.
I mean, some of them were just like, ew, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing here? It's like Steve Urkel.
Ew, did you do that? Uh-oh, did you let Ronaldo score? Oops.
It was sort of like that kind of thing, but now this team's got a different feel to it. And I think the attitude change as well has really helped. But looking at the Americans group, in Group B, they've got the Scots, the Scotland national team. They've got Iran, one of my favorite players, Jahanbash, who's in the Prem. I love saying his name. And they've got the sister country, the Brits, England. They are in Group B. And as Maddie said, Black Friday and USA-England in November. That is going to be hell in a cell and then some if you are going to watch that game following your Thanksgiving food coma. And to me, when I look at Group B, Maddie, I'll start with you on this one. I think Iran and Scotland, they can handle. I think we know that they're better than them in paper, on theory.
The Scotland thing isn't locked yet. They still have to
Oh, they
play
still haven't?
Ukraine.
It's either
Okay.
Wales, Scotland, or Ukraine.
Okay, so they're going to get one of those
Yes.
three. Okay.
I feel confident with saying it's going
Yeah.
to be a Wales win
Yeah.
in that whole group.
Well,
I think-
Gareth Bale, I think.
Yeah, he's carried the Wales team,
For
the Welsh,
years.
for so long. And to me, I feel like they're a pretty mediocre team that you can at least count on to make that first kind of cut. I think, honestly, the England-USA game,
That's gonna
I
be
know
fun.
the English are very confident they think they're going to win this game.
They were like that in the Euro last
They're
year.
always like that.
Yeah. Always like that.
oh, it's coming home, mate. Oh, we're going to have our celebratory fish and chips. Oh, yeah. And then the Italians are like, it's mine. You don't take it from me. It's mine.
Yeah, and then they lose to North Macedonia.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
And I mean, okay, for the USA, I really do think they have a lot of strong suits, especially
do.
because so many players, like we said, are playing at English teams right now.
And
I
just top clubs in
just
general.
top clubs.
Yeah.
Like when you see the roster of like Chelsea, Manchester City, like you see Matt Turner who's going to Arsenal, like these are teams that they will have so much insight after playing with so many of these English players that I think is so beneficial for them that it's hard to overlook and just say, oh, they're not going to be as good as a team. They're too young,
Yeah.
all of that. I thought, like, they're playing a 4-3-3 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they switched it up. They were playing like a 3-4-3 like last year. It's different now, but I think it's worked for them so far, and I think playing against this English team, it's going to be really effective.
It's going to be a good test for them indeed. And I think the one thing that has really pulled this team together, when you have an incredible holding midfielder like McKinney, Tyler Adams can contribute to that as well. Just tying your attack and your defense together, that can change a lot. And that is how a lot of the great, just club teams in general have been built. The Galacticos were, they had star power. That's obvious, but like the glue guys were huge for them. Xavi for Barcelona.
Yes.
I think we can keep going. Michael Carrick.
Busquets for Barcelona too.
Sergio Busquets, I like to call him. I like Busquets.
The spine of this U.S. team is definitely very
it's
good.
So strong.
And what I'll say real quick about this group is between Wales, Scotland, and Ukraine, I don't want Ukraine because they're going to be an underdog. Everyone's going to be rooting for them.
100%.
Rightly so.
They're decent. They're not bad.
Wales, I don't want to face Gareth Bale.
No,
I prefer
God, no.
Scotland.
Yeah, I agree.
If it's Wales or Scotland, they're going to really want to beat England because of all that. They're in that political
They're in the
stuff.
same little island.
We're going to
thing.
really want to beat England.
Yeah.
England, I think, in my opinion, are overrated. Gareth
I
Southgate
agree.
is not a good coach. They have talented players. They don't set up well. They
Yeah.
play too defensively. They're going to get exposed.
They
USA
put Marcus
versus
Rashford at left back at one point. In the
USA
Euros.
versus
was
England
so upsetting.
on Black Friday will be the most watched game in U.S. soccer history. It will be the greatest day of my life if they win. We have a real shot in this group.
Yeah.
I was watching Sky Sports, which is an English channel. They're talking about
They're good.
They're talking about Wales. They're talking about Scotland. They're talking about Iran's going to give England trouble. They're not even really mentioning us.
Oh yeah.
Do not underestimate us.
Do not underestimate
We
the
are
Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
We are coming.
We
We're
are
going to
here.
spread freedom everywhere.
We are gonna spread free.
Looking ahead, if we get out of this group, Group A is not that strong. We've got Qatar, Netherlands, Senegal, Ecuador. We'd face either the first place or runner up out of
we
that
can
group.
beat. Who
We could
can
beat them.
Yeah.
Looking ahead, quarterfinals. Then what's one more game? What's the semifinal?
I just think if
What's
they get
one more
to
game
the,
after that?
I think if they get to the round of 16 and they win a game, I just think that's a huge
That's a
step.
success.
That's a huge step in the right direction. It's like how Fordham, they get to the second round of the A10, they win a game. Step in the right direction. You got to take it baby steps here.